As students rushed out of class to end the 2024-25 school year, the Ford government stepped in to take over 4 school boards across the province, 3 in the GTA, Toronto District School Board, Toronto Catholic District School Board, and the Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board. For a closer look at them, we're joined by Education Minister Paul Calandra. Thanks for joining us here live on CP24 Breakfast.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, Minister.
You too,
Appreciate your time. I know it's a busy time for the government this time of year. Minister, you've now in total taken over 5 school boards in addition to these 4 that were announced on the last day of school due to what you called ongoing mismanagement. What specific failures pushed the province to intervene, and why did you make that announcement on the last day of school?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, all school boards have a responsibility to run a balanced budget. On occasion, we do allow them to get into deficit positions with the approval of the minister, but these are school boards that have ongoing deficits, multi-year deficits, without any plans to come back to a balanced budget. They're all different, but I will make this one caveat. The last 4 boards are in a much different spot than the London, the Thames Valley. That one was a lot of malfeasance, a lot of really incorrect decisions that were being made. These other 4, it's about decisions that they're not making, which required us to step in and put it back on the right path.
I was at the TDSB budget meeting there, right, when they signed off on the budget. And that included keeping pools open for at least another year, trying to find some ways to make some more money to keep them operational, because it's about $17 million, I think, a year to keep them all operational. That and the special musical teachers, not real teachers, but people who come in. Were those decisions not good enough to try to balance the books, and then you felt like you had to step in?
Well, what TDSB has done is they've presented a balanced budget, but it's dependent on selling assets to balance the budget, about $30 million worth of asset sales. And what we usually like is that when assets are sold, that they're used to renovate or build new schools. You keep hearing a lot about air conditioning, for instance. That $30 million is sucked right out to balance the budget. So it's about decision making, not only this last year, but over many years. And what we've said is, look, you got to prioritize classroom funding, full stop. So I'm sympathetic, and Toronto is a bit different. I'm sympathetic about the pool situation because this is historical decision making in partnerships with the City of Toronto. So I am somewhat sympathetic of that. Our supervisors were able to get down to the bottom of it and see where they have failed. And if there's challenges with our funding formula, then we'll make that decision too. We can look at that as well at the same time. Yeah,
you mentioned the word supervisors, and a lot of critics say that, this move by the government is kind of a power grab, especially the appointment of supervisors with ties to the PC party. So how do you respond to the concerns that this is more about politics than protecting students?
Well, look, all of the supervisors come with extraordinary resumes, extraordinary ability to put these boards back onto the right path. I'm very confident that they're going to do an exceptional job of doing that. But that's the responsibility, frankly, of the Minister of Education. And I've said this time and time again since being appointed, where boards go off track, where they start to make decisions that impact classroom education, that impact teachers' ability to deliver high quality education, then I will step in, whether you're in a deficit or whether you're in a surplus. All of our funding should be focused on classroom education, on teachers, and giving us the best system. And where the boards fail, I'm going to step in and I'm going to do the right thing for them.
The TDSB budget's multiple billions of dollars, like $3.4 billion.
Right,
85% is staffing. So where's the wiggle room here to try to make things work?
Well, again, all boards in the province of Ontario have the same per student funding model. They all operate under the same parameters. Most boards in the province are run on a balanced or in a surplus position. These are boards. It's not just about their decision making. Like the Ottawa Carleton board is a hot mess. You have trustees who are resigning, parents who are completely up in arms about decision making. The same thing is happening in Toronto. In advance of that, I had trustees calling me saying, please take over our board. It is so completely dysfunctional. We cannot make the right decisions. The Halton Peel District Board, they have a different situation, a historical decision on long-term disability payments that have pushed that board to the brink of bankruptcy. And then the Catholic Board as well in Toronto, which has made decisions which have put them at a $75 million deficit, completely unsustainable, and without any plans to come back to balance. It's just not something that we could allow to continue to happen.
Yeah, I think transparency is an issue for a lot of people looking at this and kind of scratching their heads. You said that boards must focus on student access and classroom outcomes, but a lot of education unions and kind of policy watchdogs are saying that since 2018, more than $6 billion has been pulled from classrooms. So, you know, they're saying underfunding is the real issue here. What do you say to that?
Good. I go back to a vast majority of the boards in the province of Ontario are run at a surplus. Are running a balanced budget or in a surplus position. We have the highest level of funding that we have ever had per student funding that we have ever had in this province. But I think, again, I always hate to talk about that in the sense because I just don't think parents care, right? They, you know, the education minister says, oh, we got the highest level of funding, and the unions say, no, we don't have the. Ultimately, it's the teachers and the students that I care about right now. And I will say this: we've all heard stories. Teachers going to Dollarama to supplement the education for their kids. That should not happen. When I hear things like what happened in Halton Catholic, you know, going on a vacation to Italy and charging that back to the taxpayers to buy artwork. Well, that's $200,000 that is taken out of classroom education. So look, our supervisors will look at not only the money that they're spending, how they're spending that money, but let's look at our own funding model. And if it isn't meeting the test, then this will give us the opportunity to look at that.
Okay. Yeah, and Minister Calandra, lastly, there's been that pause on the curriculum for kindergarten students and also for STEM and geography programs. A lot of people, educators, are welcoming this, but is that kind of an admission that maybe the province is rolling too quickly on it, you know, on this reform without giving them the time to think about it? Yeah,
well, partly, I wanted to make sure that when we do introduce the curriculum, teachers have the time to look it over and make sure that they're prepared to deliver it. But I also want to ensure that going forward, the curriculum is far more consistent than it has been in the past. I keep hearing this, and I agree. We have 72 different systems of education in this province, and it's time that the Ministry of Education also step back up to the plate. We have to stop doing what we've done in this province for 50 years. The Ministry of Education downloads responsibility because we're afraid to take on that responsibility or make a decision. That has to stop, and that's what we're doing. We're pausing the curriculum so it can be more consistent across all 72 boards, and parents can have the confidence that teachers have had the time to actually be prepared to deliver that curriculum.
Okay, so no start date for when that curriculum
would take a one-year pause.
Okay,
so,
one-year pause.
All right, cool. Minister of Education Paul Calandra, thank you very much. We do appreciate the time informing us, you know, on summer break. And, you know, there's no break for the provincial government. Well, it's a little bit. You'll go to your constituencies and all that, but happy early Canada Day as well.
Yeah, you too.
Have a great summer, Minister.
Thanks
for
so much.
joining
Thanks
us.
for having
Appreciate
me.
the time.
Appreciate it.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.